So the White House getting one major deal done with many more in the works.
The Trump administration signing an agreement with Ukraine, giving the U.S. access to its rare earth minerals.
Mark Meredith is live on the North Lawn of the White House with details, and we don't know a lot, but we know more than we did yesterday.
Well, Steve, I'll try to fill you in. Good morning, friends. The president prized himself as a deal maker, and all the trade deals have been getting a lot of the attention, or those potential trade deals. As you guys mentioned, there was a new deal signed just yesterday between the U.S. and Ukraine that'll give the U.S. a future control of the revenue share that Ukraine is getting from its natural resources. Now, this deal, which we just talked about, was signed on Wednesday, will give the Trump administration a stake in Ukraine's future success as the U.S. continues to seek an end to Russia's war against Ukraine.
This is President Trump's deal that he's done trade deals, tax deals, and now we've got this Ukrainian-American economic partnership deal, and it's win-win. It is a way to show that there's no daylight between Ukraine and U.S. as President Trump presses to end this horrible war.
We are hearing from Ukrainian officials, including the country's economic minister, who says the fund is a 50-50 structure and that its national assets will be protected. The Ukrainian government says the deal is also meant to send a signal that it could be a global partner, not just to the U.S., but to many others for decades to come. Meantime, the White House under growing pressure to reach new trade deals amid the latest GDP news, which shows the U.S. economy shrank in the first quarter. Overnight, the president vowed many deals can be reached relatively soon.
We're negotiating with South Korea. We're negotiating with Japan. We're negotiating with a lot of different, many. India is a very big, they want to make a deal so bad. We're going to make great deals for America instead of bad. And if I didn't take this hard line, India, as an example, had no interest in negotiating with anybody.
We've seen the White House put a lot of focus on India, especially after Vice President Vance visited the country just recently. We also know that the Treasury Secretary is planning to meet with the Japanese delegation fairly soon. Friends, back to you.
Wow.
And Mark, we've heard the president talk a lot about the assets that Ukraine has, or presumed to have. A lot of that is because currently China really dominates in that space. And so this is kind of a negotiating thing where it's like, you know what, we don't need your stinking stuff, China. We've got Ukraine in the wings.
Steve, the administration has been selling this as a national security problem. They want to see more domestic production of chips, like you mentioned, everything that would go into supercomputers or your iPhone. The idea would be that they'd want more of the ability to ensure that the U.S. would have access to these materials, God forbid, if there were to be a greater conflict with China or another country. So, yes, the White House would say this would be a national security imperative, and Ukraine is obviously seeing this as a sign that the U.S. will show some longer support to them because, of course, this war has dragged on for so long now.
All right. Thanks so much. You know, there's a great column today by Mark Thiessen, the brilliant columnist who's a Fox News contributor. He says that the deal creates a reconstruction investment fund that will be jointly owned and managed by us and them. Ukraine will contribute 50% of all its revenue earned from future monetization of all government-owned natural resources, including minerals, hydrocarbons, oil, natural gas, and other extractable items. The fund will use the revenue to invest in projects in Ukraine and attract investments and development. And the U.S. is going to be there. Some people look at the tripwire being some troops from France and England. The tripwire, if Russia wants to invade, would be U.S. contractors working on the ground, refining and mining.
Brian, I think that's the key detail that a lot of people are missing. People keep talking about the security guarantee. You can't attack our economic engine that we're starting in Ukraine right now. And so I think the security guarantee is Russia, don't attack Ukraine, because if you attack this area, this is our land right here that we're mining on.
Well, and because 40% of the stuff we want is in that territory that is disputed. So going forward, what needs to happen is it costs billions and billions of dollars to develop the mines and stuff like that. And I was reading the Wall Street Journal this morning. Currently, foreign investors are hesitant to do it because it's very costly, but also they haven't gotten any concrete security guarantees from the United States. That will work itself out, and then they will start the process, but it's a long road.
We've helped Ukraine so much, and this is a reimbursement, Donald Trump says, of the billions of dollars that we have given them to fight this war. And the types of minerals, there are 20 different raw materials or minerals that we would like, and the non-minerals, like you said, the oil and the natural gas. But some of these minerals will help us make aircraft wings and other aerospace manufacturing used for nuclear power, medical equipment and weapons, and used for the EV batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah, my hope is we'll use that. They're going to use the money to buy our weapons, which is a win-win. Right now, they're waiting on Patriots, and they said, we'll write a check. Evidently, they're delayed. I don't know why. Patriots are a defensive weapon. They have the money. We have the Patriots. So hopefully we'll send them. I'll ask Michael Waltz that, the National Security Advisor. He's coming up shortly. Man, what a portfolio he has. So President Trump securing a mineral deal with Ukraine, giving America a major financial stake in the country and a key step in the push for peace. To expand on that is a guy that was there at the very beginning, right through the tape, National Security Advisor Michael Waltz. Great to see you, Michael. Your thoughts about what the audience should know about what this deal means to us here at home and Ukraine's security.
Well, Brian, this deal is good for the American taxpayer that is recouping the billions of dollars that we've put into supporting Ukraine. It's good for Ukraine and helping it grow the pie in terms of its development and reconstruction, and it's good for its security, where you have 50-50. The Development Finance Corporation with the Treasury Department that is investing in the critical minerals, the rare earth elements that the United States need and Ukraine needs for its future. All of this, nobody said could be done. President Trump said, get it done. And congratulations to Secretary Bessent, the entire national security team that leaned into this and established this, I think, really first of its kind in many ways, deal.
Judging by some of the statements that have come out of Foreign Minister Lavrov talking about a need to declare that all land that they've stolen from the Ukrainians has got to be there, recognized by the international community, some of these things that clearly are non-starters. Are you guys rethinking about continuing talks with Russia?
Brian, the process is moving forward. Sometimes it ebbs and flows. Think about it. Just 100 days ago, nobody was talking. The NATO Secretary General came to the Oval Office behind me and said only President Trump could have brought both sides together. We were here. We are moving closer and closer. Ambassador Steve Witkoff, Secretary of State Rubio have been leading the charge with all of us in support and coordination. But yesterday was a momentous step. It should have happened a month ago with this minerals deal. And Russia needs to come to the table. Both sides have to want peace. Both sides have to want to stop the fighting. And we think there is still a deal to be had.
Right. It looks like Ukraine gets the message, especially after the Vatican meeting. I don't think the Russians are, just from the outsider perspective. All right, let's talk about what is going on with the Houthi rebels. We've been bombing them pretty consistently since the middle of March. You had 1,000 U.S. strikes on different targets. When are they going to start getting the message? And is the message really to Iran?
Well, you heard Secretary Hegseth that Iran needs to wake up. Iran needs to get the message that it can be a responsible country, that the President of the United States wants peace. He's ready to make a deal, and that it cannot have a nuclear weapon. Not only can it not have a nuclear weapon, it cannot provide funding, resources, missiles, and assistance to a terrorist organization that is attacking international shipping, attacking United States assets, shooting at our planes. Enough is enough. And the president's been loud and clear. Secretary Hegseth is putting his message out loud and clear. So we sincerely hope Iran receives that message. And again, our great Ambassador Witkoff is waiting for them to come back to the table.
There's a big week. I mean, the one thing we heard about is modernizing the fighting force, being able to get technology, working with the men and women like you who fight our wars. What could you tell us as the U.S. Army has exceeded its recruiting goals for 3 straight months? And actually all across the military, every branch.
Well, this is just, Brian, I'm so excited about this. This is leadership at its finest, led by our commander-in-chief who loves the troops and they love him. Secretary Hegseth leading from the front. Secretary Driscoll, Army Secretary, that you had on earlier. I mean, again, we're 100 days in, and they are talking about modernizing the Army, counter-drone, electronic warfare, getting our troops the things they need rapidly, cutting through the bureaucracy, consolidating a lot of these commands and headquarters that we don't need. They are all gas. Brian, and this is exactly what our modern force needs as it moves out of those protracted Middle East wars to deal with the modern warfare that we're seeing, from space to cyberspace to drones to missiles. All of those in the hands of our warfighter now, using the latest technologies that are already out there commercially on the street, that we're seeing from companies like Anduril, Palantir, and others. We've just got to cut through the red tape. As a veteran, I can tell you they deserve better. And you saw yesterday, congratulations to EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, who just served his last day in the military.
Right, and I know you did this thing where you actually signed up for the National Guard after serving in Green Beret, so you never stop. I just think it's pretty impressive. If people want to know the advantage of Silicon Valley and the AI execs helping out the administration, they're now directly interacting with the Pentagon. I never thought we'd see this. Michael Waltz.
We've got to move faster, and we've got to cut through the red tape. They deserve the best. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Michael Waltz. Appreciate it.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.